the darkness of late night, there is a mind awake. Not just one mind. Millions of minds. Perhaps even yours. Right now, while the world sleeps, there are people lying in bed staring at the ceiling, eyes wide open in the darkness. Thoughts like rolling waves, never ceasing to crash against the shores of consciousness. Why did I say that? What will tomorrow bring? Am I good enough? Welcome to Where Hearts Rest, where stories like these find their ending. Imagine you're standing before an ancient glass door. Behind that door lies a secret garden, where the wind never blows wildly, where crystal clear water flows without ever stopping. That is the peaceful mind. And you're holding the key in your hand without even knowing it. In a torrential downpour, there was someone standing in the middle of an empty courtyard, letting the rain soak through to the skin. No umbrella. No shelter. Just a human being and raindrops falling like needles on bare skin. This person had been running. Running from endless meetings. Running from unanswered messages. Running from decisions waiting to be made. But there was one thing this person couldn't run from: the thoughts inside their own head. They chased like hunting dogs, circled like ravens, screamed like thunder in the storm. Why did I do that? I'm going to fail. What will people think of me? I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not. And then, in the midst of that rain, something changed. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was desperation. Or maybe it was a moment of grace. This person stopped fighting the rain. Stopped fighting the thoughts. Stopped trying to become someone else. And in that moment of surrender, a miracle happened. For the first time in so long, there was silence. Today, you don't need to stand in the rain. But perhaps you feel like you're drowning in a different kind of storm, the storm of your own mind. Do you know that feeling? When thoughts fall like raindrops without end, drop by drop, until you feel like you're about to drown? When you try to shield yourself, try to hide, but they still find you, seeping into every crack of your soul? When you're so tired that you just want to fall to your knees and cry, "Please, give me just a little peace." Just a little. Over the next hour, you'll learn what that person standing in the rain discovered. The secret isn't in avoiding the storm, but in learning to dance in the rain. The secret isn't in silencing your thoughts, but in changing your relationship with them. Let your shoulders drop. Feel your breath flowing in and out naturally. And trust that the door to peace is opening. Your story of liberation begins right now. There was someone who lived with a mind that never rested. Every morning, upon waking, even before opening their eyes, thoughts began flooding in like a torrent. What do I need to do today? Did I forget something important? The 10 o'clock meeting, am I prepared enough? Why did I say that to them yesterday? Maybe I should. And so another day began in what the Buddha called samsara, the endless cycle of mental suffering we create for ourselves. This person tried to focus on work, but their mind was exactly what ancient Buddhist teachers described as monkey mind, a restless consciousness that swings from branch to branch, thought to thought, never finding peace. In the original Pali language, they called it papanyinka, the mental proliferation that turns one simple thought into 1,000 complications. The Buddha observed this pattern in his own mind before his awakening. Even as a prince with every comfort, his thoughts raced. What is the meaning of life? Why do people suffer? What happens after death? Why can't I find lasting happiness? When someone spoke to our modern person, part of them was listening, but the rest was trapped in what Buddhist psychology calls mental formations, those automatic patterns of thinking that pull us away from the present moment. By midday, their neck and shoulders began to stiffen. The Buddha taught that the mind and body are interconnected. When the mind is agitated, the body holds tension. In Buddhist understanding, this isn't just stress, it's dukkha, the fundamental dissatisfaction that comes from fighting against the natural flow of life. Evening came, and they sat down to relax, but the mind still ran like what Buddhist texts describe as a house on fire, consuming everything in its path. The Buddha specifically taught about this evening torture, when the day's mental accumulations create what he called the hindrances, worry, restlessness, doubt, and the endless mental chatter that prevents peace. Lying in bed, in the darkness, was when the second arrow of suffering struck hardest. The Buddha taught that the first arrow is what happens to us, the events of the day. But the second arrow is what we do to ourselves with our thoughts about those events. In the darkness, this person was shooting themselves with hundreds of second arrows, replaying conversations, analyzing every decision, painting fearful scenarios about tomorrow. Buddhist texts describe this as vikalpa, the mental construction of realities that don't exist. The mind creates entire worlds of what if and why did I that have no basis in present reality. And this person wondered, is this how life is supposed to be? In Buddhist terms, they were experiencing what the Buddha called the first noble truth, the recognition that something is fundamentally wrong with how we normally experience life. There were moments when they felt trapped inside their own head, like what Buddhist meditation teachers describe as being caught in the web of thoughts, unable to distinguish between the thinker and the thoughts, between awareness and the content of awareness. They tried everything our modern world offers, but nothing could make the thoughts quiet for long. They always returned, because as the Buddha taught, you cannot solve a problem at the level of thinking with more thinking. You cannot cure mental fire with more mental fire. And then one day, in a moment of exhaustion, this person experienced what Buddhists call the awakening of spiritual urgency, the recognition that this is not how life was meant to be lived. This is the exact moment when the Buddha began his search for liberation. This is where every Buddhist practitioner's journey begins, not with answers, but with the right question. How can I be free from this mental suffering? Do you recognize yourself in this story? If so, you're experiencing what the Buddha called the human condition, and you're also at the threshold of the greatest discovery possible. The path to freedom begins with seeing clearly where you are trapped. 2,500 years ago, there was a teacher who told his students a story. It was the story of two arrows. Imagine you're walking through a forest, and suddenly an arrow flies out from the bushes and pierces your shoulder. Pain shoots through you immediately. That's the first arrow reel, unavoidable pain. But then, instead of simply pulling out the arrow and bandaging the wound, you begin shooting yourself with a second arrow. This invisible arrow is made of thoughts. Why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? What if I die? Why did I take this path? I should have been more careful. This second arrow, the arrow of the mind, often causes more pain than the first. That teacher, whom we call the Buddha, made a revolutionary discovery. In life, we cannot avoid the first arrow. Illness will come. Loss will happen. Change is inevitable. That's part of being human. But the second arrow, the arrow of thought, of judgment, of resistance, of worry, that's entirely our choice. Think about the last time you faced a real problem. Maybe an argument with someone. Maybe a failure at work. Maybe bad news about health. Now be honest with yourself. What caused more pain? The actual event, or all the thoughts you had about that event? The argument might have lasted 10 minutes, but you thought about it for hours, for days. The failure might have been a small setback, but your mind turned it into evidence that you're a complete failure. This is the second arrow at work. Right now, as you're listening to me speak, notice your mind. Is it trying to categorize this information? Does this apply to me? Have I heard this before? What should I do with this information? That's not a problem. That's just the mind doing what it's designed to do. But recognizing it, becoming the observer of thoughts rather than being swept away by them, that's the beginning of freedom. In the Buddhist tradition, we call this mindfulness, the ability to be aware of what's happening in the mind without being carried away by it. Like standing on the riverbank watching the water flow instead of jumping in and being swept away. When you begin to recognize the difference between real pain and the pain the mind creates, something miraculous happens. You'll still feel hurt when life brings challenges, but you'll no longer torture yourself with untrue stories about what those challenges mean. And that's the beginning of liberation. There's a reason why our minds work this way. And understanding that reason will help you have compassion for yourself. In your brain, there's a network called the default mode network. You can think of it as an automatic alarm system. When you're not focused on anything specific, this system turns on and begins its job, scanning for problems. Thousands of years ago, when our ancestors lived in caves and forests, this system was a wonderful survival gift. It helped them remember, this red berry is poisonous. That sound could be a predator. I need to find food before winter comes. But in the modern world, this alarm system has become a curse. Because to our ancient brain, there's no difference between a lion and an annoying email. Both are processed as threats that need immediate resolution. So your mind constantly scans, is there a problem I need to worry about? Is there something I'm forgetting? Is there danger lurking somewhere? And in today's information-rich world, it always finds something to worry about. This isn't your fault. Your brain is just trying to protect you in the way it knows how. The problem is, this method of protection, constant thinking, endless worrying now causes more harm than help. Neuroscientists have discovered something interesting. When the default mode network is overactive, we feel unhappy. And the more we think, the more disconnected we feel from ourselves and the world around us. But here's the good news. The brain can change. Science calls this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to restructure itself. And what the Buddha taught 2,500 years ago has now been confirmed by modern science. When you practice mindfulness, when you learn to observe thoughts, instead of being swept away by them, you're actually changing the structure of your brain. You're strengthening brain regions associated with peace and happiness, and weakening regions associated with anxiety and stress. But more important than science, the Buddha left us with a profound insight. Suffering is optional. Pain is inevitable. Life will bring pain. That's an undeniable truth. But suffering, the way we react to pain, the way we resist, judge, and create stories about it, that's entirely a matter of choice. Try this right now. Notice your breath. Just 3 breaths. Feel the air coming in and going out. Don't change anything, just observe. Do you notice? In those moments, when you paid attention to your breath, the mind became a little quieter. The default mode network switched off. And in that small silence, there was a glimpse of what we'll explore more deeply. There is a way out of this cycle. And that way begins with understanding a simple truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. There was a woman who once sat in her garden, watching a beautiful butterfly land on a flower. Its wings shimmered in the sunlight like living pieces of stained glass. She wanted to keep this moment forever. So she tried to catch the butterfly. But every time she reached out, the butterfly flew further away. She chased after it, trying with all her might, but the butterfly kept escaping. And in the process of chasing, she trampled other flowers, knocked over a water pitcher, and turned the peaceful garden into chaos. Finally, exhausted and frustrated, she sat down and wept. And then, something miraculous happened. When she stopped chasing, the butterfly slowly returned. It landed right on her shoulder. There, peaceful, in a perfect moment. This is the first lesson the Buddha wanted to teach us about the secret of liberation, impermanence. Take a moment right now to observe your breath. Don't change anything, just observe. Feel the cool air as you breathe in and the warmth as you breathe out. Do you notice? Each in-breath naturally becomes an out-breath. No effort, no resistance. It simply changes. This is the nature of everything in this universe. Rivers are never the same water. Clouds never keep the same shape. Autumn comes and gives way to winter. And the thoughts in your head, they're the same way. Try this experiment. For the next few minutes, just sit quietly and observe your mind. As if you're sitting by a riverbank, watching leaves float downstream. The first thought appears. Maybe, what am I doing? Just observe it. Don't push it away. Don't cling to it. Just observe. Then another thought appears. Maybe, is this working? Observe again. There might be an uncomfortable feeling, or a worry, or an image from the past. All of them like leaves floating on the river. Do you see? No thought stays forever. They come, linger for a bit, then disappear to make room for the next one. This is impermanence at work right in your mind. But here's what's miraculous. When you stop trying to catch the positive thoughts and stop pushing away the negative ones, a strange peace begins to emerge. Just like the woman in the garden, when she stopped chasing the butterfly naturally returned to her. Now, apply this insight to your real life. Think of something you're worrying about. Maybe a relationship. Maybe work. Maybe health. Instead of trying to solve it immediately, instead of analyzing it to death, try this. Remind yourself that this feeling of worry, like everything else, will change. It comes. It will go. Like weather. You are not the storm. You are the sky, vast, never damaged by the passing clouds. Take 3 deep breaths with me. With each exhale, release the effort to control. Release the need for immediate answers. Release the clinging to how you think things should unfold. Instead, trust in the natural flow of life's changes. Trust that nothing is permanent, including the pain you might be feeling right now. This isn't passivity. This is wisdom. Because when you stop trying to swim upstream, you'll discover that life's river is actually carrying you exactly where you need to go. And in that surrender, a new space opens up. A space where solutions can emerge naturally. Where creativity can bloom. Where your heart can breathe in peace. Feel that right now. The relief of stopping the struggle with reality and beginning to dance with it. There was a river flowing through an ancient city. Every day, an old man would come to the riverbank to sit in meditation. And every day, a curious child would ask him the same question. "Sir, is this the same river as yesterday?" The old man would smile and reply, "Child, this is both the same river and not the same river." The child frowned, confused. "The water in the river today is completely different from yesterday's water," he explained. "Every drop has flowed to the sea. What you're seeing is entirely new water. So then, is this still the same river?" The child thought for a moment, then asked, "Then what makes it still a river?" "That's exactly the question you need to answer for yourself," he said. "And when you find the answer, you'll understand the greatest secret about yourself." This is the Buddha's second lesson, non-self, the realization that what we call I is actually like the river in the story. Take some time to explore this. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And ask yourself, who is listening to these words? There might be a voice in your head saying, I am listening. But who is listening to that voice? There's an observer noticing that thoughts are arising. But who is observing that observer? Keep going deeper. Like Russian nesting dolls. Every time you think you found the I, ask, who knows about that I? Something miraculous will happen. You'll discover that there's no fixed I at all. Just a continuous flow of experiences, sensations, thoughts. Think about you from 10 years ago. That body has completely changed. Every cell has been replaced. The thoughts, beliefs, dreams, many of those have changed too. So what makes you today still the same you from 10 years ago? Is it memory? But memories change every time you recall them. Is it personality? But personality evolves over time. The truth is, you are not a something. You are a process, a flow, an ever-changing awareness. And here's what's liberating. If there's no fixed I, then who gets hurt by thoughts? Who needs protecting? Who has to be perfect? Try this experiment right now. Think of something you worry about regarding yourself. Maybe, I'm not good enough, or I always make mistakes. Now, instead of believing that thought, ask, who is not good enough? Who makes mistakes? When you search for that I, you won't find anything. Just a vast space of awareness. And in that space, negative thoughts lose their power. Because there's no one there to be hurt by them. This doesn't mean you don't exist. You exist brilliantly. But you exist like a river, not like a rock. You exist like music, not like a single note. Feel the freedom in this. When you realize there's no fixed I to protect, an enormous burden is set down. You don't need to maintain a certain image of yourself. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be. Like a river just flows. Breathe deeply and feel that. The relief of not having to be anyone and simultaneously being everything. In the Buddhist tradition, we call this liberation from the illusion of self. But I like to call it coming home to yourself, not to a fixed self, but to your true nature, a flow of love and awareness. And from this place, from this understanding, we can continue our journey to the third lesson, There's an ancient story about a monkey and a water jar. The jar had a narrow neck, and inside were delicious peanuts. The monkey reached in, grabbed a handful of peanuts, but when it tried to pull its hand out, it was stuck. The jar's neck was too narrow for a clenched fist to pass through. The monkey pulled, jerked, screamed. The more it struggled, the more it hurt. It could easily escape by releasing the peanuts, but it refused to let go. And so it remained trapped, not by the jar, but by its own clinging. This is the perfect image for the Buddha's third lesson, suffering and release. The Buddha taught what are called the Four Noble Truths, Four Noble Realities. But don't worry about complex terminology. Think of them as 4 simple steps. Step 1. Recognize that there is suffering. Step 2. Understand that suffering comes from clinging. Step 3. Know that suffering can end. Step 4. There is a path to that ending. Sounds simple, right? But simple doesn't mean easy. Apply this to your life right now. Think of something that's causing you suffering. Maybe a relationship that ended. Maybe an opportunity that was missed. Maybe a mistake from the past. Step 1 is acknowledging, yes, I'm suffering about this. Don't try to deny or hide it. Suffering is part of human life. It doesn't mean you're weak or wrong. It just means you're human. Step 2 is looking deeper. What am I clinging to? Are you clinging to how you wanted things to unfold? Clinging to a certain image of yourself? Clinging to needing someone to love you in a specific way? Like the monkey in the story, you might be clinging to something good, like the peanuts, but the very clinging is causing the pain. Take some time to explore this. No judgment. Just curiosity. What am I holding on to that's keeping me trapped? Step 3 is realizing I can let go. This is often the hardest part. The mind will protest, but what if I let go? If I stop worrying, what will happen? If I stop trying to control, everything will fall apart. But remember the monkey. Only by opening its hand could it be free. And once free, it could find food elsewhere, maybe even better food. Try this experiment right now. Think of what you're clinging to. Then imagine slowly opening the hand of your mind. Not throwing it away violently, but gently, releasing. Feel the liberation as the fingers of your mind slowly relax. Step 4 is the path. And the path isn't as complicated as you might think. It's simply practice, repeating the process of noticing and releasing. Every time you catch yourself clinging, you gently remind yourself, "Oh, I'm doing that again." No judgment. No self-blame. Just noticing and releasing. Practice this with me right now. Breathe in and feel any tension you're carrying in your body. Breathe out and release that tension. Breathe in and notice any worry floating in your mind. Breathe out and let it drift away like clouds in the wind. Breathe in and feel love for yourself, the person who's trying to learn how to let go. Breathe out and send that love to everyone else who's struggling just like you. Feel that connection. You're not alone in this journey. Around the world, millions of people are also learning to open their hands, also learning to be free. And in that connection, in the understanding that suffering is universal and release can be universal too, something miraculous happens. Your heart opens. Not just to yourself, but to everyone who suffers. To everyone who clings. To everyone who's searching for the way home. This is compassion, the heart of Buddhist teaching. When you free yourself, you naturally want to help free others. And that's also the bridge to our final lesson. There was a skilled musician invited to perform for the king. He brought his most precious instrument, a lute made from 100-year-old wood. When it came time to perform, he sat down and plucked the first string. The sound was harsh and grating. The string was too tight. He quickly loosened the string and tried again. This time, the sound was dull and lifeless. Too loose. The king frowned. Court officials whispered. The musician began to worry. But then, he remembered his teacher's words. The most beautiful music is born in the middle, neither too tight nor too loose. He slowly adjusted, listening carefully, until he found the perfect balance. And when he played, the entire court fell silent in awe at the beauty of the music. This is the Buddha's final lesson, the middle way, the path in between. After the first 3 lessons, you might be wondering, so should I let go of everything? Should I stop caring about work, family, dreams? The answer is no. The middle way isn't indifference. It's not becoming emotionally numb or passive. The middle way is the art of living fully without being swept away. Loving deeply without being dependent. Caring genuinely without being obsessed. Think about your breath, something we've returned to many times in this journey. You don't try to control your breath, but you don't abandon it either. You cooperate with it. You trust in the body's natural wisdom. That's exactly how to live the middle way in daily life. Try applying this to a specific situation. Think of an important relationship in your life, maybe family, friends, or colleagues. The old way might be either you cling too tightly, constantly worrying, trying to control, fearing loss, or you withdraw completely, building walls, avoiding becoming cold. The middle way is love wholeheartedly, but with open hands. Care deeply, but don't try to possess. Be fully present, but don't lose yourself. This sounds contradictory, but it's actually very natural. Like holding a bird. If you squeeze too tight, you'll hurt it. If you release completely, it will fly away. But if you open your palm, creating a safe space, the bird can choose to stay or go, and both are okay. Practice this right now. Think of something you're worrying about excessively. Maybe work. Maybe health. Maybe the future. Instead of trying to stop worrying completely, which isn't realistic, try this. Breathe in and say, I care about this because it matters to me. Breathe out and say, but I can't control everything, and that's normal. Breathe in, I will do my best. Breathe out, and then I will trust the process. Breathe in, I love and care. Breathe out, with love and release. Feel the difference? This isn't indifference. This is wise caring. This is how to love without hurting yourself. In daily life, the middle way means working hard, but not to the point of exhaustion. Planning for the future, but not living in anxiety about tomorrow. Learning from the past, but not being trapped in regret. Having goals and dreams, but finding happiness in the journey, not just the destination. And most importantly, practicing with compassion for yourself. There will be days when you tighten the strings too much, worry excessively, try to control too much. There will be days when you loosen the strings too much, become indifferent or avoidant. That's normal. That's human. And that's also an opportunity to practice, to gently readjust, find balance again. Let's end this section with a short practice. Place your hand on your heart. Feel that warm beating. Say to yourself, this heart knows how to love. It knows how to care without being swept away. I trust in my heart's wisdom. Take 3 deep breaths, and with each breath, feel yourself finding balance, like a lute, string tuned to perfect pitch. Now we've explored the Buddha's 3 core lessons and how to apply them to life. But how do we bring these insights from the meditation cushion into the real world? That's exactly what we'll explore next. There was a skilled builder who was tasked with constructing a house on a mountainside. The house had to withstand every storm, every earthquake, every challenge that time could bring. The builder didn't rush to begin. Instead, he spent months studying the foundation. 4 massive boulders, each placed at a corner, creating an unshakable base for the house. In the Buddhist tradition, there are 4 foundations of mindfulness, 4 boulders upon which you can build your peaceful life. But don't worry about ancient terminology. Think of them as 4 simple ways to find stillness in the midst of chaotic living. The first boulder, mindfulness of body. Right now, without closing your eyes, quickly scan through your body. Start from the top of your head down to your forehead, eyes, jaw. Are your shoulders tense? Is your chest contracted? Is your stomach tight? This isn't about changing anything. Just noticing. Like meeting an old friend after a long time apart. Throughout the day, your body is the perfect barometer for your mental state. When you worry, shoulders tighten. When you're angry, jaw clenches. When you're afraid, breath becomes shallow. Learning to listen to your body is like learning to read the weather of your soul. The second boulder, mindfulness of feelings. Like weather, emotions come and go. Right now, without judgment, just notice, how are you feeling? Maybe calm. Maybe curious. Maybe a little anxious. Maybe tired. Instead of saying, I shouldn't feel this way, or I need to feel different, try, oh, there's sadness here, or there's restlessness arising. Like reporting the weather, today is cloudy, might rain. No judgment. No resistance. Just noticing. The third boulder, mindfulness of mind. This is where we've spent most of our time in this journey. Learning to recognize the patterns of mind without being swept away by them. Are there worrying thoughts repeating? Oh, mind is worrying. Are there painful memories resurfacing? Oh, mind is remembering the past. Are there plans spinning around? Oh, mind is planning. Not to stop these thoughts, but to recognize that you are not them. You are the one observing them. The fourth boulder, mindfulness of phenomena. This is the deepest boulder. Learning to see the impermanent nature of everything around you. Sounds come and go. Light changes. Scents drift by. Even this conversation is happening in time, slowly passing. When you truly see this impermanence, something miraculous happens. You stop clinging to what's comfortable and stop pushing away what's uncomfortable. Because you know that everything will change. Try this right now. Listen to the sounds around you. They appear and disappear. Feel your breath. It comes and goes. Observe your thoughts. They rise and dissolve. This is meditation in real life. No need to sit in lotus position. Just wake up to what's happening. The Buddha once said, just as a skilled physician carries medicines for immediate healing, a practitioner of Dharma carries techniques for immediate peace. These are the Buddhist-rooted emergency tools for when your mind begins to race. Tool 1. The 3 refuges reset, based on Anapanasati. When your mind starts spiraling, the Buddha taught a fundamental practice called Anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. But he made it practical for crisis moments. Breathe in deeply and take refuge in the Buddha, your own potential for awakening. I have the capacity for peace. Breathe out slowly and take refuge in the Dharma, the teachings. There is a path to freedom. Breathe in again and take refuge in the Sangha, the community. I am not alone in this struggle. This isn't just breathing. It's connecting with the 3 pillars of Buddhist practice that have supported practitioners for 2,500 years. In 18 seconds, you're not just calming your nervous system, you're remembering your place in an ancient lineage of people who have found freedom from mental suffering. Tool 2. The Dharma Inquiry, based on Samasati. When a thought loops endlessly, the Buddha taught a practice called Samasati, right mindfulness. Instead of fighting the thought, investigate it with Buddhist inquiry. Ask, is this thought based on present reality or mental construction? This addresses the Buddhist concept of vikalpa, mental fabrication. Then ask, does this thought lead to peace or to suffering? This is based on the Buddhist teaching of kusala versus akusala, wholesome versus unwholesome mental states. Finally ask, what would loving kindness toward myself look like right now? This connects to metta, the Buddhist practice of loving kindness. This transforms Western psychology into Buddhist wisdom. You're not just managing thoughts, you're applying 2,500 years of insight into the nature of mind. Tool 3. The compassionate response, based on metta. When you notice your mind creating suffering, the Buddha taught metta, loving kindness, starting with yourself. Instead of self-criticism, practice what he called the gentle heart. May I be free from mental suffering. May I be at peace. May I be happy. May I be safe from the storms of my own mind. Then extend it. May all beings who struggle with anxious thoughts be free from suffering. May all beings find peace. This isn't just self-soothing, it's the Buddhist understanding that individual liberation and universal compassion are inseparable. Your peace contributes to the peace of all beings. Tool 4. The Buddha's Return, based on Satipatthana. The Buddha taught 4 foundations of mindfulness, but the most accessible is Kayanupassana, mindfulness of body. When lost in mental chaos, return to what he called the body as Dharma teacher. Feel your feet on the ground. The Buddha called this grounding in present reality. Feel your breath. He called this the meditation that leads to liberation. Feel your heartbeat. He called this the rhythm of awakening. The Buddha said, the body is the temple where awakening happens. Every return to physical sensation is a return to the Dharma, the truth that can set you free. These aren't just techniques, they're gateways into the Buddha's own path to liberation. The Buddha said, drop by drop, the water pot is filled. Likewise, the wise person gathering Dharma little by little fills themselves with good. This is how to build Buddhist practice into modern life, not through grand gestures, but through what the Buddha called the gradual instruction. Morning, right intention, samma, sankappa. Before engaging with the world, the Buddha taught the importance of samma sankappa, right intention, the second step of the Noble Eightfold Path. Sit quietly and set what Buddhists call bodhicitta, the intention to awaken not just for yourself, but for the benefit of all beings. Today, may my actions reduce suffering in the world. May my words bring peace. May my presence be a refuge for those who need it. This isn't just positive thinking, it's aligning with what the Buddha called the heart of the Dharma, the understanding that individual awakening and universal compassion are one path. During the day, the 4 foundations, Satipatthana. Transform ordinary moments into what the Buddha called Satipatthana, the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Kayanupassana, body awareness. When walking, know you are walking. When sitting, know you are sitting. The Buddha said, there is no moment when mindfulness of body is not beneficial. Vedananupassana, feeling tone awareness. Notice whether experiences are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. The Buddha taught that understanding these Vedanas prevents the chain reaction that leads to suffering. Cittanupassana, mind state awareness. When anger arises, note anger is present. When calm appears, note calm is present. The Buddha said, one who knows the mind is liberated from the mind. Dhammanupassana, phenomena awareness. See the arising and passing of all experiences. The Buddha taught, in the seen, there is only the seen. In the heard, there is only the heard. These aren't just mindfulness techniques. They're the actual path the Buddha walked to his awakening. Evening, the Buddhist reflection, Patimokkha. Before sleep, practice what Buddhist monks call Patimokkha, the reflection that purifies the day. Gratitude practice. Thank the three jewels: Buddha, your awakening potential; Dharma, the teachings that guide you; Sangha, the community that supports you. Loving kindness. Send metta to yourself. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. Then extend it to all beings. Dedication of merit. Offer whatever good you've done today for the benefit of all beings, what Buddhists call parinamana. The Buddha taught that shared virtue multiplies infinitely. The refuge prayer. I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings find peace. The only vow, the Bodhisattva heart. The deepest Buddhist commitment isn't to perfection, but to what's called the Bodhisattva vow, the promise to keep practicing until all beings are free from suffering. Each day, simply renew this intention. However long it takes, however many times I must begin again, I will continue on this path, not just for my own peace, but for the liberation of all beings. This is how you transform daily life into Dharma practice. Every moment becomes an opportunity to walk the Buddha's path. We have walked together on what the Buddha called the path of awakening, from the darkness of mental suffering toward the light of understanding. Take a moment to recognize where you are now. In Buddhist terms, you have cultivated what's called panya, the wisdom that sees clearly. You have developed sati, the mindfulness that remains present. You have touched metta, the loving kindness that heals. This is not a small thing. The Buddha taught that even one moment of true understanding can transform lifetimes of suffering. Dear Dharma friend, you have joined an ancient Sangha, a community of practitioners stretching back 2,500 years. Right now, around the world, in temples and homes, in meditation halls and busy streets, millions of people are walking this same path you've discovered today. Feel that connection. In Buddhist understanding, we call this the interdependence of all beings. Your awakening contributes to the awakening of all, and the practice of countless others supports your own journey. Send metta, loving kindness, to all beings who struggle with racing minds. May they be free from mental suffering. May they find the peace of the Dharma. May they discover their own Buddha nature and feel the loving kindness of all practitioners flowing back to you, what Buddhists call the merit of the Sangha, the accumulated goodness of all who have walked this path. The Buddha's final words were, "Work out your salvation with diligence." What you've learned today are not just techniques, they are what Buddhism calls the Dharma gems, precious tools for liberation that belong to you now. Remember the Buddha's promise. All beings have Buddha nature, the innate capacity for awakening. Your racing mind is not a problem to be fixed, but a Buddha to be awakened. When thoughts arise, remember, you are not the thoughts. You are the awareness, what Buddhism calls the clear light of consciousness that witnesses all arising and passing away. When you feel lost, remember, you can always return to what the Buddha called the 3 doors of liberation: mindfulness of body, breath, and heart. If this Dharma teaching has touched your heart, please share it. The Buddha said, "The gift of Dharma surpasses all other gifts." Someone in your life may need to hear that there is a path beyond mental suffering. Let us end with the traditional Buddhist dedication of merit. May the merit of this practice benefit all beings. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings find happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings live in peace, free from attachment and aversion. May all beings awaken to their true nature. And as we part, remember the Buddha's teaching, you are your own refuge. You are your own sanctuary. You are your own path to liberation. Until we meet again in the Dharma. Gate, gate, paragate, parasagate, bodhisvaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond, gone completely beyond. Awakening, so be it. May your practice flourish. May your heart find rest. May all beings be happy and free.